First Team All Purpose with yours truly, Sean Alcide, and my co-host JD. JD, how are you feeling today, beloved?
I'm great, bro. How you feeling? Election day,
Election day.
day off from work.
Got a day off from work. It seemed like when I'm off from work, the days go by faster than when I'm at work. So that's a dilemma that, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
still
yeah.
feel
You had a bunch of errands to run.
that's the thing. When you hit me earlier, I was like out. I was like, man, I should be home resting. Like I stayed in till probably like maybe like 10:30, 11 o'clock after we dropped Kobe off from school. And then I went to work out. By the time I got back, it's 1 o'clock. And I'm like, I got stuff to do before, the day goes by. So I went out to run some errands, and things of that nature. And by the time I got back in the house, it was pitch black outside, like 5 o'clock. It was a wrap. I'm like, okay, I'm not going back out. I
Damn,
think
daylight saving time.
right. Thank God I'd already got my workout in the morning and I didn't have to leave again. But yeah, man, it was productive somewhat, but I just still feel like the day just went by too fast and I didn't get enough done. That's how I be though.
Big
Um,
facts.
big news right off the bat coming out of the NFL. The Indianapolis Colts, aka Jim Irsay, fires Frank Reich, and the coach for the Colts the last few years, and his record is actually pretty good. For a coach, I mean, he obviously wasn't getting it done this year, and last year they had a disappointing end to their season, going down to the last game they lost, I think, to the Jaguars with Carson Wentz. They got rid of Wentz. They brought in Matt Ryan, and they're thinking. I know you didn't understand that because Matt
Yo,
Ryan.
but before Wentz, didn't they pick up Philip Rivers?
Philip Rivers was they took him. He
Oh,
had a 1 year flyer there. All these aging guys, right? Wentz is not as old, but he just didn't play. He played well most of the season there, but then just choked in the biggest game of the year, which didn't surprise anyone. Um, and then the Matt Ryan experience didn't work, so now they've benched him for the rest of the year, and they're playing their young guy. It's not gone well, for the Colts at all. Frank Reich gets fired, and we're like, okay, you know what? We kind of saw this coming, right? Frank, maybe his time was coming to an end. We thought last year might happen. They give him an extra year. Okay, great. They're going to play out the rest of the year. They're going to be one of the worst teams. They're probably going to draft from the young quarterbacks. And
facts.
then the news comes through. I mean, I found out in our fantasy football, designated report fantasy football chat, because I was at work. I had no idea what was going on. And I thought Paul was trolling when Paul posted this in our chat. He said they being the Indianapolis Colts, just hired Jeff Saturday to be their interim coach. Now I'm like, time out. Is there another? The Jeff Saturday I know of is the guy that used to play center with them for
Facts.
13 years with Peyton Manning, and then he played 1 year with the Packers before retiring. He lost a ton of weight, went to and now he's an analyst at ESPN. I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, he was around football, but head coach. And then I'm like, wait, Jeff has never coached on any kind of legitimate level before.
At
Outside of
all.
high school, there's no experience, no college, no coordinator job, no offensive line job, working with no consultant job, like as far as like being in the trenches. Now they're telling us he was some kind of consultant for the Colts on some level, which we know is a BS made up
Oh man,
position.
come on, man.
They're BS made up position to tie that in. But he's going to be coaching the team now. Now, everyone's reaction was like, what the F? How do you have someone with no experience just walk into a NFL job, when a lot of coaches have been in the waiting, particularly black coaches have been in the
Hmm.
waiting and can't get looks. Do you make much of this, or do you think this is something that shouldn't be made too big of a deal about?
Look, I'm not even gonna go in the direction of the black coaches thing because we already know they don't respect black coaches.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many is it every single year we're gonna have the same conversation?
Yeah, yeah.
Eric Bieniemy can win a bunch of Super Bowls. He can help Pat Mahomes become one of the greatest quarterbacks, but he can't even get a fair interview,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything that Brian Flores said in his deposition, you're seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not even gonna go that route. I
Mm-hmm.
just think it's a slap in the face in coaching in general
Period.
because maybe you can get away with that in basketball, like we saw with Steve Kerr and Steve Nash.
Right.
But how the heck in the NFL do you get away with hiring someone who's never coached at any level? Not even like a scout, like a ball boy, right? It's like a Disney movie, right? Like the owner reaches out to a former player who's living back home and he needs a new head coach. It's something that you would see in a Disney movie, not in a professional setting. So I was just shocked. First of all, I had to Google to see if it was the same Jeff Saturday. So I was like, okay, maybe it was a different Jeff Saturday. I know it's not the guy from the ESPN. And they're like, yeah, it's the guy from ESPN. So I don't know what the Colts are doing. Jim Irsay's rationale doesn't make any sense to me. And it's a complete joke, man. It's a bad day in the NFL, man.
Listen, like you said, this stuff, it was so weird that Jeff Saturday was confused. Like, he was like, wait. And he's saying these things. Like, he was like at the introductory press conference. He's like, bro, what, me? He's like, why me? Why do you think I'm qualified for this job?
I don't believe that.
I mean, you don't think he believes that? You're saying that,
bro,
what he's saying?
So why he take the job?
Because you don't turn down an NFL coaching job. You don't turn.
You do if you're not. No, you do if you're not experienced. You do if you haven't been in the trenches as a coach.
What does he have to lose?
What is he? I mean, his reputation.
What is the reputation? He's never coached. He's not
exactly.
But that's the thing. That's the guy right there that has absolutely nothing to lose. He can say, well, I was on TV. You came to get me. I like a challenge. I never turned on a challenge. And I took it. That's the team that I grew up playing for. I had a Hall of Fame career there. I love this team.
That's even a worse reason, right? If you self-reflect, you can say, thank you for the offer. You know, this is the franchise that I played for 13 years. We won a Super Bowl, went to 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning was the man. You know, I love this franchise. But let me give it to a better candidate.
Oh, God, Gene, that's not realistic.
That's not realistic? It's sad.
If the Nets offered you their job right now, you turn it down?
Bro, I'd laugh out the window right now.
Would you turn it down?
Yes.
You're bugging.
So wait. So you want me to take a Nets job, and I'm pretty sure I'll be horrific at it, so I can be the laughing stock?
So you're thinking about it from that perspective, as in you got to go in and change everything. You can also, like, he's the coach. That means he can hire guys to put around him. He could go and get experienced coaches and different things, even though he went to get somebody with no experience.
Again, this is a Disney movie then. So you're going to go. So you're telling me Jeff Saturday has a Rolodex of good coaching, right? So he's just going to call a bunch of people sitting on their couch to come help him make the team better? Who is he going to call?
What if he calls Jim Caldwell? There's guys who've coached that has experience, Gene.
If that's the case, then you should let Jim Caldwell have the job and say you'll come on as an assistant coach.
Bro, Gene, you're not being fair. This is not a Jeff Saturday thing. This is an NFL thing. Like, Jeff Saturday, I would absolutely take a job. So
if the Mets called you right now, you would take the job?
To manage them?
Yeah.
We're going to the World Series, baby.
Dude, you on crack, bro. You on crack, man. You crazy, man. You crazy. I would talk you off the ledge. I would talk you off the ledge, my man. You don't want
if I succeed? So I cannot succeed at all?
No.
I can't. It's impossible for me to succeed?
It's impossible.
What?
So hold on. So managers who's been around the game for 30, 40 years, they get coaching jobs and the rate of success is extremely low. And you're just thinking you're just going to walk in without any prior
that's not
coaching?
My problem. I have to believe in me. I got to believe that I'm capable. And again, this is not like Jeff Saturday is a random.
You have to believe in yourself, but you also have to be realistic.
Gene, I believe that Jeff Saturday believes he can do an adequate job. Mm-hmm. I don't think he took the job just because they give it to him. I think he thinks he could do this.
So you believe in yourself. So if the NBA called and said, "Hey, Sean, we want you to be in the dunk contest in Utah,"
how is that the same as coaching? That's not the same. That's an athletic thing. I can't jump.
You're just saying you believe in yourself.
See, now that's Disney. You're turning me into Spencer James.
This whole Jeff Saturday thing is Disney, man. Come on, man.
So Janelle sent me a video from this baseball player who played for the Tampa Bay Rays. He was basically not lifetime, but he spent a lot of years in the minors. And it's pretty funny how this is relative to all of this. He spent a lot of years in the minors. He finally gets called up, right? Mm-hmm. But he plays third base. And at the time, this is 2015, the third baseman for the Rays was one of the best ones in the league, Evan Longoria. You're not going to play over Evan Longoria. And on top of that, the other positions that he's accustomed to playing, first base, different things like that, they were pretty set in stone there. Aubrey Huff, different guys were already in place.
Okay.
So apparently the team didn't do their homework on this guy. Like, they don't pay attention to the minor leaguers. Apparently, this guy, he can't get in the game because he could hit, but they already had their DH. So he was not going to be able to play over their DH. So the manager's like, yo, could you played the outfield before? He was like, absolutely. He's never played the outfield in his life.
Okay.
As a baseball player. So
super bad analogy, but keep going.
Okay, he had to borrow an outfield glove from his friend.
Yes.
To even go in there and play. He said, bro, this was like when you lie on your resume to get the job and then you figure it out later. Sometimes you got to do that.
Cool, but see, no, the difference in that story is that he was a current player. So now if Jeff Saturday, right, was a current player or he was maybe 2 years removed from the game, I wouldn't have an issue. He's been retired for how many years, though? It does make a difference because because that baseball player is still playing baseball every single day. Jeff Saturday
coaching is different, Gene. He's not. Why does he need to be 2 years removed to coach?
Dude, they say in football, like every 3 or 4 years, the game changes. And what Jeff Saturday was doing when he was a player, it changed to what the NFL is now. We can find numerous examples of the game changing.
But he talks on the game. He watches film. He's still involved in the game.
But watching and coaching is my thing. Is you have to lead a team of 52 dudes, and you've been sitting on the couch, and you're going to work once a week at a studio on ESPN, and you're telling me that was the best guy for the job.
It worked for Steve. It worked for Steve Kerr.
Who?
If Kerr didn't have any experience.
Yo, but what did I say early in the podcast, though? I said basketball. Okay, so pound for pound, we would all agree that football is the hardest sport, right?
No, we've already had that. Baseball is the hardest sport, but I don't know what you're talking about in terms of coaching or leading.
In general.
I don't agree. That's the hardest sport.
Well, I think is the hardest, right? I'm just saying, if you were to give me an option between who you would think would be successful from a basketball coach to a football coach, I say a basketball coach like a Steve Kerr, because there's less things that you have control of and you can kind of manage compared to a football team where there's so many different things that go on. Just their contract, the players' contracts are different. You can have in basketball 2 or 3 players, you're probably in the playoffs. In football, you need multiple players. You got to do all the scouting. To me, I just think it's a more intricate game that somebody else would be better suited to lead these men.
It's more of a team game. Saturday. Yes. It's the most team game there could be, yes.
But we've seen multiple examples of NBA, coaches who didn't have coaching experience to go on to coach. We've never seen that in the NFL. So to me, that's why this situation doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I'm just saying I understand why Jeff accepted that job. And I think anybody in that position would accept that job. My problem.
I don't think so. I think less people would turn it down, man.
You're bugging.
So if the Vikings call Randy Moss right now, he would take that.
He's 100% taking that job.
Hell no,
bro. Gene, to be an NFL head coach you don't turn that. You figure it out after, bro. And it's not like, again, these guys. You're talking about.
You won't have time. The way that Jim Irsay fires coaches, you won't have time to figure it out. What are you figuring out?
Well, then that's his excuse. Then I didn't have time. He'll get another shot. Like my problem is more with the fact that black coaches, and I know you talked about this already, but there's black coaches like Brian Flores could have been your interim coach if you really wanted to take a coach with experience. But apparently Jim Irsay doesn't care about experience because he likes guys who know nothing about it at all, so that they can just kind of like maybe be mind controlled by what he wants them to do.
Doesn't Reggie Wayne have a job with the Colts? Isn't he a positions coach?
I'm not sure. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I think he works with the team at some facet,
he might coach receivers. Maybe
that's what I'm saying. So you've had former players before, but it's the old boys club where I'm just gonna give my man's the position, and just make a mockery of the league. Like you said, not even going for Brian Flores, but what about the offensive coordinator on Tampa Bay, Byron Leftwich. Leslie, I think Leslie Frazier from the Buffalo Bills defensive coordinator.
Ryans, who is leading one of the best defenses in the world right now with the Niners.
But this is the last point I'll make in this whole situation, right? You know why? And I don't really want the black coach to get that position anyway, because
they'll fail.
No, because stop calling on black coaches to bail your franchise out and you're not gonna give him the opportunity to be, successful.
Yeah.
Like Houston, Texas was a laughingstock, and all of a sudden they went out and got Lovie Smith. And look at the team now. You don't got a team around Lovie Smith.
Right.
But then they can say, okay, you know what? We gave him 2 years to figure it out. It didn't work. Right?
Yeah,
look
I
at the
agree.
coach. Yeah,
I agree.
Look at the coach that was coaching for the Arizona Cardinals. He got 1 year, and they fired him. Cliff Kingsbury been a coach for 4 years now. He hasn't won squat.
Yeah.
He's even worse.
Yeah.
So I don't want black coaches to get these BS jobs where they're not even going to get the real opportunity to succeed.
But that's what sucks, because how do you decipher between not having any jobs at all and taking bad jobs? Most teams who are hiring are probably bad situations because they just were pretty bad to fire their coach. Unless, a guy like Mike Tomlin, who walked into a perfect situation in Pittsburgh where a coach just, I've been there forever, I'm stepping down, and he stepped in there. And even then, people gave him a lot of crap about hiring this guy who is Mike Tomlin and so, and he's only gone on to never have a losing season. So again, you never know how it could work out.
Look, man, if they're putting all these things in places to get minorities jobs, and we're still growing through this, and the interview process is still a sham, I'm not with it. I'm not rocking. If I'm Eric Bieniemy, I'll just ask Andy Reid for a raise, an annual raise, especially if we win the Super Bowl, or throw some incentives in my contract for when we win. But like, I'm not gonna go take a sham job to waste 2 years or 3 years of my career just to come back to Andy Reid, bro. I'm not doing that.
So you would 100% pass up the Brooklyn Nets job.
Yeah, pass that up, man. Y'all ain't gonna make me the scapegoat, buddy. I ain't gonna be the laughing stock of your franchise.
I'm gonna ask that. I'm gonna ask that in our group chat. I'll see how many guys would turn down. I guarantee you'll be the lone one. I'm pretty sure, because that's hard to do. All right, going from football to basketball. Kyrie Irving, Brooklyn Nets star, has been suspended for posting a documentary that has a lot of anti-Semitic content in it, I will say. And they've asked Kyrie to apologize, and he has done that. Even though he didn't do it initially, Kyrie reflected on that, and he was able to issue what looks like a very sincere apology, a very Kyrie sincere apology. And then after that, Brooklyn decided, well, that wasn't enough. So they came back with a checklist of 6 things Kyrie needs to get done before he's able to come back to the team, while he's suspended a minimum of 5 games without pay. He has to apologize / condemn the movie. He's already apologized. So I don't know if they're asking for another apology, but this time on camera, maybe like a press conference, clearly condemning the movie. And I'll give you more content about the movie in a second. He has to donate $500,000 to an anti-hate cause, which he's already done, and they've returned that money back because they said they can't take any money. He has to do sensitivity training. He has to do an anti-Semitic training. That's 4. Number 5, he has to meet with ADL, an organization, and Jewish leaders. That's 5. And then on top of that, he has to meet with the principal, aka Mr. Joe Tsai, to demonstrate his understanding. So after he does the 5 things, he has to come to the owner, and he's got to believe that Kyrie really meant these things sincerely from having done them. To give you context about the movie now, it is a movie that's called, I don't want to promote this. This is not a promotion. I'm just giving context, From Hebrews to Negroes, speaking about a lot of Black history and how, we as a people came from where we are to where we became, to where we ended up based on how slavery and a lot of things went. But the overall concept that Kyrie is suspended until he does these 6 things, are what to you? What comes to your mind when you hear this?
Well, this is this is a crazy story, man. This is a story that shouldn't have been going on for as long as it has, right? The area that I'll blame Kyrie at is that he just should have apologized in a timely fashion when everything came out, because it was a lot of confusion out there, and I think he could have saved himself the headache and the drama by just formally coming out and condemning it and apologizing. But with that being said, I'm not rocking with this checklist at all, man. I'm gonna be very frank. Kyrie ain't nobody's slave, bro. Point blank, period. And I'm gonna say it because I have to say it. I feel like we're at a point in time where a lot of black athletes, like, we're almost like the scapegoat. They're almost like the scapegoat for everything that's wrong in society in America, right? The man came out, he apologized. It wasn't in a timely fashion. We could all agree to that. But don't give this man a checklist of things that he has to do to satisfy your feelings. I'm not rocking with that. You feel me? So the Nets owner, he's the last person to be talking, because I'm hearing some sketchy stuff about him as well. Right? So don't, we have to sit back and really assess the situation. It's not like this man is out there going ham like how Kanye West was going, who was on video saying anti-Semitic stuff, who was wilding out on Twitter. Kyrie didn't do that. He made a mistake. He apologized for it. Let's move on. But again, don't give him a checklist of 18 things he have to do to satisfy you guys. Nah.
Yeah. Initially when this happened, as far as like the post and then the first press conference Kyrie did after the game when the reporter asked him about it, we were texting, me, you, and Janelle. We were like, "Uh-oh, this is not good. This is not good." Kyrie is bugging for posting that, and his initial defense, just how he was very, in defense mode of everything the reporter was saying. We were like, "Yeah, this is not gonna end up pretty." But never did I see it getting to this point. I knew Kyrie, maybe they might fine him. I thought they might fine him. I thought a suspension would be harsh, maybe one game, just to kind of show him this is a serious thing. But once they came out with the checklist, I was like, all right, you guys are doing a lot for a guy who has, like you said, he's not doing what Kanye is doing. Kanye was going on a rampage of posting people in their families and then saying a lot of things about these people and their families. That is not religion.
Yes.
That is not what Kyrie did. Kyrie posted something, that was stupid because, one, I don't think Kyrie really understood the full context of what he posted. I don't think he knows everything that people are giving him backlash about. That was in a movie. And it's fair. We can criticize Kyrie. We've done it. You've done it. I've done it. We can criticize Kyrie for making a mistake. That was stupid. Shouldn't have done it. Apologize, Kyrie, and move on for it. But when it became that, it had to be this way. He got to meet with this person. And also, this all happened after Kyrie already met with the Brooklyn Nets and decided to donate $500,000. They put out a joint statement that he's going to put out, donate $500,000 to this hate group and things of that nature. And then they worked on that together. So it's not like Brooklyn knew what was going on. I'm bothered because Brooklyn let the public pressure of Twitter and, their courtside fans to be able to come in and send a different message that they want Kyrie out of there. Not just, we don't want just the $500,000. We don't want an apology even at this point. We want this guy to suffer. And since then, Kyrie's lost his Nike deal. His shoes that they were literally on the way out, they've pulled them. They terminated or
one of the top sellers too. Top 3 sellers.
Yeah. Top sellers, right? So this is a context of something that's completely different. What I will say, this is what bothered me most, and I know I voiced this a lot to you and Janelle. What has bothered me most about this is that why do black celebrities or black athletes, whatever you want to frame it, why is the grace for them so marginalized as opposed to when anybody messes up? Like I said, we're not on here pleading for Kanye and how he's done wrong. We held Kanye accountable. And again, you can hold people accountable without trying to end their lives and end their careers. You could do that. We've held Kyrie accountable. But for people to want Kyrie to just be completely erased off the surface is one, unfair. That's one. Two, the NBA players. You guys brag all the time about this brotherhood, this sorority, this this
fraternity,
family, this fraternity that's so sacred. Everything, you guys ride for one another. Unless you guys are leading me to believe none of you really rock with Kyrie, then y'all got to take a harder look at yourselves in the mirror. You call that man your brother all the time. Y'all are hanging out. Y'all are doing shows together. Y'all are playing ball together, pickup games in New York City. But when it's time for that brother to have somebody step up and just defend his character, not even to defend his actions, but his character, that speaks more than anything to me. Like, if I do something and I mess up and I apologize for it, I should have somebody that be able to say, yeah, that's not Sean. He had a moment. He made a mistake. You can't be my brothers if y'all are all now. Jaylen Brown has come out
Jaylen Brown,
and said, listen, we don't believe Kyrie is anti-Semitic. I don't believe Kyrie is anti-Semitic. Yes, he made a stupid mistake, but let's not act like this is who he is. He's never portrayed these beliefs or these hateful gestures or, proceedings before. But for the other guys who are just sitting there watching Kyrie literally get his career taken away from him, I got to question y'all way more. And I'm losing a lot of respect for a lot of you because you guys are protecting you're protecting your pockets. That's what it is. You guys are scared that if you come across too defensive of Kyrie, that it's going to look like maybe you believe and agree with what he believes in, and that might cost you some money. And that's what I don't respect at all. So I think those guys really got to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, yo, is that really my brother? Because I'm leaving my brother to dry.
For me, what really pissed me off was just the media aspect of it, right? And again, this is me not trying to play down anti-Semitism because like LeBron said, hate of any form is ridiculous. It's whether it's Asian hate or black hate, whatever. But then it's like I remember, like 1 or 2 owners calling black players the N-words. Mm-hmm. I don't remember ESPN having a black pastor on the television to talk about how black people are hurt from this and how we can learn from that.
Yeah.
So now why all the theatrics now?
Yeah.
And that second Kyrie press conference, if you actually listen to the whole interview, he said some correct things, and he explained himself. But because he didn't say it how you want him to say it, you're going to bypass all that and just label him as anti-Semitic or, this hateful guy, which isn't true. And that's the power of the media. But going back to your point, these players, and I always laugh with you. I'm like, look, man, like it's either we boys or we not, right?
Yeah.
You can call somebody out for the BS, but then also you're supposed to have their back and give them grace when they need it, right? Just a few years ago, I vividly remember that there's a baseball player. I think he played for Milwaukee Brewers, or I think it was the Brewers or Cardinals. And they went back on his Twitter and found him tweeting a bunch of N-word stuff.
Oh, Josh Bader. Right now, he's on the Padres. He's like one of the best closers in baseball.
What happened to him? I remember a lot of people making this. The main excuse was, he was 17 when he was young. Tweeting that. Mm-hmm. He was a young guy. So that shows me that you guys have grace and you guys are forgive. You tend to forgive people.
Right.
So do it with this man. He doesn't have a history of doing this.
Right.
And again, if he was out here like Kanye bugging out, you can't defend that.
Right.
I've been highly critical of Kyrie Irving, especially when it comes to, his vaccine stuff and him missing games. But what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. Again, just a few years ago, this baseball player, he got the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Everyone gets the benefit of the doubt except for the black athlete, man. It's crazy to me.
Right. And it's not like they don't know Kyrie. It's not like this is a rookie that they haven't been around. Y'all know Kyrie, man. Y'all have been around this guy a lot. He's not anti-Semitic.
His high school coach is a Jewish man.
It's like you guys know. And again, we're not here like making excuses for his actions. He was wrong for the actions. He shouldn't have done it. And he should have apologized sooner if he feels like that is something that was going to be, helpful to heal the process for both, the Jewish community, the Brooklyn Nets, and himself moving past it. He should have just gotten it out the way if he was going to do it and move on. But he didn't, and it is what it is. But for the whole people to watch this go down like Kyrie is this, it's like he's Hitler Jr. or something. It's
like he's the face of anti-Semitism.
Like he's
crazy
the face of it. But right now, bro, if you Google anti-Semitism, Kyrie's probably going to pop up.
Kyrie and Kanye,
because it's the most relevant thing right now, and everyone's tied him to it. And it's like y'all know him. Y'all can't say one word on his behalf. And when you do speak, it has to be pleasing to what everybody else has already been saying.
And what kills me, man, about like not to even to get to like too political, it's just like there's never no real brotherhood, man. It's really never no real brotherhood, bro.
This is why I get annoyed when all these celebrities, especially celebrities, when they're always calling. I'm like, y'all, like Draymond Green calls, and not even like to point out, he'll call like Jason Tatum, oh, that's my brother. I'm like, what is it? And now all this is all reflective. Like this guy who doesn't really know this guy, all that well. Oh, that's my brother, because they're all they're in the same tax bracket. They all feel like they're supposed to be brothers, but y'all don't really like rock. When do you guys really hang out? When do you guys really, do all of this other stuff to build a family, like a family hood type of thing with these people? And now I'm seeing that it's like everybody just says my brother, my brother, my brother, because it sounds good, especially celebrities. But it's like y'all don't
So let me
y'all
ask
have
you
no
this,
history.
right? What happened to the NBA? This is how dudes don't think. If every player was like, you know what, Kyrie was wrong, but you guys are going too far. I stand with Kyrie. So would Adam Silver just say, yo, the NBA is canceled?
No.
Life would go on.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah. Life would go on.
Yeah. We're 40%. We're 45% of the league. I saw a stat the other day. Not even 45. We're 45%. No.
What, blacks in the NBA?
No, I'm thinking about something else. It's 75%. There's 45% something else. I'm going to look it up right now because I saw the post. And I was very, very intrigued by it, looking at the numbers. We're like, I know we make 70-some% of the league. Here we go. And all these media folk too, man, they're so quick. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Black Americans are 45% of the NBA's viewership, and over 70% of its talent base. Like, if you take away the 40% viewership and the 75% talent base, there's no NBA.
Is Nike going to drop everyone? Is Nike going to drop Giannis and LeBron and Paul? Like,
Nike's not dropping LeBron. I don't care what LeBron do. They're not dropping him. So,
but just to signify, I mean, to touch on the Nike thing already, the talks with Nike and Kyrie actually went back from last summer.
When they were talking about canceling his shoe, right?
But yeah, because of all the, the antics and stuff like that. So they just used this moment to finalize it. So I'm not even the whole, he lost the Nike deal. I'm not even harping on that, because realistically, they weren't going to re-sign him, because for the amount that he sells, like, if I'm not mistaken, bro, in terms of pure basketball, not excluding Jordan and LeBron, he's number one. More than Greek, more than Paul George, more than Luka, all these guys.
Kids Rock at my school.
60% of the NBA players, playing Kyrie's, So, I mean, at the end of the day, Nike wasn't going to sign him anyway. They just used this moment to like kind of back out of it because of all the transgressions that's been going on. Yeah. But you're not going to cancel everybody, bro.
Yeah. And again, Kyrie, and again, Shannon Sharp has since come out and said, and he's very critical of Kyrie, the Nets are doing a lot. And Nick Cannon has come out and say,
I saw that clip.
The list is like, you guys are treating this man like he's literally a child that needs to meet a whole bunch of requirements to get his job back or to get his space back into the classroom. So I hope more people come out and speak to the ridiculousness of what the Nets are doing. And I hope everyone could kind of hear from this. Everyone could grow from this. This is a learning moment for Kyrie. I guarantee you he's not going to post anything again that he doesn't know, the context completely of. It's a learning moment.
Man. Kyrie's not the I would have been
Don't do that.
Oh no, man.
So before we get out of here, we got to do this, right? The World Series is over. Congrats to Dusty Baker on finally getting a championship. Yes. I saw Barry Bonds give him a shout out. It almost had me shed a tear because I really wanted them to win it in 2002 when they faced the Angels. But Dusty Baker wins it, and it's officially the baseball offseason. The baseball offseason, the winter meetings are currently going on, and teams are going to be looking to make big splashes, whether free agents or making trades for guys like Ohtani, so on and so forth. But there's two guys specifically, because by the time we meet next week, they might be already on new teams. Okay. So I want to ask you this. What is your prediction for Aaron Judge? What do you think he signs? Do you want to hear the rumored teams, or do you just kind of want to?
Let me hear the rumors.
The rumored teams are the Dodgers.
They got the bread.
And that's his hometown. The Giants, it's also kind of like his home, California. They got the bread too. And they have the history. The Mets are kind of like a sleeper team, not so sleeper team. The Yankees, obviously. And then there's another team out. There's another team out there, but I can't think about them right now. So it's the Giants, the Dodgers, the Mets, and the Yankees. If you had to call it right now, if you had to play the lottery for the Mega Million right now on where Aaron Judge would be, where would you say he's playing next year?
I'll say Yankees. I think he's going to re-sign with the Yankees. Aaron Judge gives me the Derek Jeter sense of, I wanted to play for one franchise. I want to see my number retired with all the legends. Like I just saw a clip with Jeter. When he was a free agent, he told all the other teams out reaching out, like, "Yo, don't do it because this
and they
is the
put his
only
business
team.
out there.
This is the only team that I want to retire with. I don't want any other number. Like I'm good with the Yankees. So I feel like Aaron Judge might go down that route. He's already the man in New York. So I didn't know he was from LA though. I always thought he was from New York.
Nah, he's from out west, bro. Yeah,
Okay.
West Coast baby. Him and Giancarlos are both West Coast babies.
If I were to put not a sleeper, my second choice would be the Dodgers. Dodgers got to
get everybody, man.
They seem to get everyone, man. They're pitching. Maybe it's Magic Johnson. He comes there and he fucking cracks jokes with them, but I don't know, man. They get everyone, bro.
So the other guy who is rumored to potentially be taking his talent elsewhere is Jacob deGrom. The teams that are in the mix are the Texas Rangers, who have all this money and no state taxes is a big thing that they're waiving, especially baseball money. That's a lot. The Mets, obviously, the Braves, your Braves, who have been lurking since before the season, per rumors and Buster Olney, and then maybe there's a sleeper team out there. So between the Rangers, the Mets, and the Braves, if you had to say deGrom is playing somewhere next year for all your money, where would you say it is?
I'm gonna go with the Braves. I don't buy into the Texas hype anymore because I think the new age athletes, except for Mike Trout for whatever reason, they don't tolerate all that losing, my man. Like these dudes are not trying to lose 100 games every single year, man. I don't know how Mike does it because Mike should have forced his way out of.
Because Mike be hurt he'd be hurt half the year anyway.
Yeah,
so for him, he's like 60 something.
So I'm gonna go with the Braves because they have a vast history of just great pitchers and having a good staff around them. We just won the World Series. It was 2 seasons ago.
2 years,
we won 100 games, even though we lost in the first round. He would be the ace of the staff, and he has a good lineup to support him in driving some runs. I think that was kind of the issue with the Mets. It's like a lot of games that he pitched, my man wasn't getting no run support. So I think the Braves could sketch it out.
So wow, you have him leaving New York, and you have Judge staying. I think Aaron Judge is going to be a San Francisco Giant. I think I heard a story from one of the Yankees beat reporters who was very close to Judge, maybe right after the season ended for the Yankees, and he said after that last game that they were eliminated, when they got swept, Aaron Judge was like, guys were like, "All right, Aaron, I'll see you around, right? Like spring training." And Aaron was like, "I'll see you guys at some point." Like good, he was like saying goodbyes. On top of the connection to San Francisco, he loves the Bay Area. As I mentioned, he's from the West Coast, and they have a lot of money this summer because they traded all their good players, and they have all this money freed up. Their best pitcher's a free agent, Carlos Rodon. They might not re-sign him to chase Judge. I think he's going to leave, but I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed with the Yankees. And deGrom, I'm okay with losing deGrom. I just don't want to lose him to the Braves, but I think he's going to run it back. I think Steve Cohen's not going to let this guy I think he feels like you brought him here to be with Max Scherzer. We didn't get that last year because deGrom was hurt most of the year. I think he's going to cut the check, maybe give him $50 million so he doesn't have to go more than 3 years, which he doesn't want to do. So 3 years, $50 million per to beat Scherzer's $43 million per. And I think they'll get it done. But I'll be okay if he leaves. I just don't want him to go to the Braves. I cannot have him. Because he's going to go to the Braves and win a Cy Young in 30. He's going 30 games and y'all going to win the World Series, and I'm going to be heated.
What's the number looking like, the ballpark figure for Aaron Judge?
Aaron Judge, 8 years. Yankees don't want to go 9 or 10. 8 years, 320. So he's looking at roughly 40 per.
That's it?
He's 31 years old. So that's what's hurting him. If he gets a 10-year deal, he's looking at, you're making $42 million at the age of 41 as an outfielder?
Yeah, it's the outfielder. But I mean, I wouldn't. You don't think that they would ever move him to like first?
Either that or DH him, but yeah. I don't think they want to commit. Yankees promised they wouldn't commit long term, like 10 years after the Cano thing. That's why they let Cano go.
But all right, but also here's the thing, right? How much revenue did he generate for the Yankees chasing that 61? I'm saying if he spends 10 years in the Yankees and he's approaching all these historic numbers, like they'll make it that $40 million back and then more.
But I think they're playing the projection game. Do you project Aaron Judge to be this dominant and this good in the next 5 years?
Yo, baseball is different, man. It's not the wear and tear in baseball is different, man. It's not like you're running up and down the court like a basketball, you're banging your body like, a football game, or even tennis is going back and forth. If you take care of yourself in baseball, you can have a long, super long career. Baseball players, like the good ones, are like 17 years in the big leagues, 18 years, 19 years, some even 20.
Yeah, but not as dominant. I mean, look at A-Rod. A-Rod started declining after like 2010 with the Yankees, and he had like a ton of years left on his contract. So I think it's not wear and tear. It's like baseball is such a hard sport. You might not be able to hit 50 home runs every year. Not a lot of guys have done that for the duration of their career. Barry Bonds was I mean, that's like a perfect baseball player, though. Like, I don't know how many guys have been able to beat Aaron Judge type production. Even him, Aaron Judge, he doesn't even play 100 games every year. This is the first time I think he's played 100 games in his career or something like that. Maybe. So he's hurt a lot. So I think a lot of that is factoring into it. I would love to see him leave so Yankees fans could cry more. So I want the Giants thing to happen, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But he's going to be very rich at one way or the other. If a team pitches him $400 million, he will take it, regardless of if it's Seattle, Texas, or any of that.
That's the number he's looking for. 400.
He's looking for $400 million.
Scott Boras.
Scott Boras. So
I
Scott
need to be an agent out here, man. That 3% of 400 million is kind of looking decent right now, man.
Son, it's different, bro. It's different. But
why don't these players just do a Lamar Jackson and like just get a lawyer to handle your contract?
Because they don't want to be in a walk here like Lamar Jackson, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why more guys.
But Lamar is gonna get paid regardless. Lamar is gonna get paid.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, just basic math. If Scott Boras gets 3%, I don't even know what his cut is. Out of that 400 mil, he's getting $13 million just to negotiate a contract.
Yeah, and that's one player.
And now, man doesn't have like
biggest player. Yeah,
come on, he has like 60 players probably.
I'm pretty sure Trey Turner. I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Let me not say that, but I know Trey Turner has a pretty big agent who created like a whole video reel, sent it to all the teams once free agency started. So baseball players, that's one thing. They do chase the money. Like they don't care about World Series. Baseball is a sport that I don't care if I won a World Series, and I'm gonna go in the Hall of Fame if I hit 300 and I hit 500 home runs. I need to get this bag because the contracts are that long, and you've been in wait 7 years before you can get paid. Aaron Judge is about to get paid at 31.
Yeah,
that's crazy. This guy almost won an MVP like 5 years ago when they said Altuve took it from him.
Yeah.
So I think they just want to get paid at this point, and they figure it out later. Maybe they'll be traded in 5 years or so, like Cano did with the Mariners.
The Dodgers will always be a good team. San Fran, Braves, these teams are always good. I'm not taking 400 to go to the Texas Rangers and win 69 games a year, bro. I'd go crazy, man.
You're lying, Gene. You're doing
No, because if you're a good player, you can get paid from a lot of teams. I'm just saying, okay, so would you take 400 to be with the Texans or 375 to be with the Dodgers?
What if the alternative is, first of all, that's 25 million. You're making it sound like it's nothing. Second of all,
okay,
you made it sound like it was light.
Okay. So hold on. Name me one good athlete in any sport that's not taken from endorsement. You'll make that money back. Dudes never think about that.
So what about if you make that money back and you get your 400 million?
Okay, so why did LeBron James? He's been underpaid his entire career. Why is that?
Because LeBron has prioritized winning. Basketball's different. Basketball's different.
But I'm telling you, but that's the same. But LeBron, okay.
He also has a lifetime contract with Nike. That helps
because he's making endorsements, right? So my thing is, if great players, they always make money from endorsement. I can take a $10 million less, $20 million if I know I'm gonna make 75 from Nike.
I can't wait till you get rich so I can remind you of this conference.
Bro, I'm saying if you're telling me we're not talking about 100, I didn't say 300 million.
What about 325 to 400, which is what the Yankees are offering? 325 reportedly to 400 million.
Depends on what my endorsements are looking like. That's what I just told you.
Oh, wow. Bro, I need the bread. I need every dollar, bro. I'll figure it out later.
Bro, let me tell you something, right? And now we talking about some rich stuff right now. Right? There is no, if you have good people in your circle, there is no difference realistically between 300 mil and 400 mil. If you can't flip that,
we can't do this.
Okay, man.
We need Joe.
We
need my man Joe, Carl Joseph on the pod to talk you out of this mess right now. You're bugging. You're bugging.
If you can't live comfortably on 300 mil,
that's not the conversation. That's not the conversation.
Bro. So we be talking about mental health and all this other stuff. So you would take more money to be miserable. I'm taking less money. That's still a lot of money to be happy.
They don't care. They don't care, bro.
They do care, bro. Some of them care, man.
I don't think so. A-Rod signed, bro. When Manny Machado signed with the Padres, they were the worst team in baseball, bro. Mm-hmm. That man went there, got his money. He could have went to the Yankees for less money. He got his money, and the team became good. Like in baseball, it's a figure it out later sport. Like you never know, like because it's not in baseball. It's also if you get a generational player like they did with Ohtani to put with Trout, you should be able to compete and win more games. I think health has
A-Rod on Texas.
Right, but look how he got out of that. He didn't
do anything. Ohtani and homeboy, they've been on the Angels for years, nothing.
But Ohtani's not on. Ohtani didn't take big money. But A-Rod on the Rangers, look how that worked for him. He got traded to the best team in the world and won a World Series in a few years.
He kind of forced his way out of it, but I get it though.
It happens. That's what I'm saying. If Mike Trout wants out, he's gonna get out. I just don't think he wants to have that on his resume. Like, oh, I'm disgruntled and I want to be traded. I think Mike Trout is a class guy and he's just trying to. But I think he knows there's gonna be at a point. Especially if Ohtani gets traded.
Listen, man, he not no class, nothing, man. He just got bad people in his ear. Because if that's my brother, I'm like, bro, we got to go to the Mets, man. Like he's from New York, right? Long Island.
Nah, he's from Jersey. He wants to be a Philly. He was going to be at a chance. Yo, he had one more year on his contract before he signed that big deal, man. Him and Bryce Harper talked about playing together. Mm-hmm. They would have won the World Series with Mike Trout this year. Like they would have beat Houston. So,
I think I heard a story that's who the Nationals were going to draft Mike Trout, but then he got drafted before because they had Strasburg, they had Harper, and then they were going to draft Mike Trout, but then the Angels ended up taking him. Crazy.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Yep.
All right, man. Make sure you guys tap in. A lot of these questions are going to be interesting because Gene capping about this $75 million difference, and he's also capping about not taking a head coaching job. About you.
25 million. I didn't say 75. I said 25
well,
million.
It's 325 to 400. That's a $75 million gap, is what I'm saying.
No, the example I used was 400 million and 375.
Okay, but I asked you 325 to 400, and you said
I gotta see what the endorsements are looking like.
You're bugging.
Come on, bro.
Anyways, make sure you guys are subscribing and like and comment. Let Gene know he's tripping and he's out of his mind. As Stuart Scott, the greatest that's ever done it, said, holla at a player when you see him in the street. Deuces.